We thank you so much for your time today, and we will now take questions. Yes, you sat there so patiently all day today.
Very interesting stuff. Brittany Gibson from Politico. Why are you not ready to present remedies yet in the trial portion? Or that was part of the discussion that came up today with the judge.
Thank you so much for that question. We are very ready to present remedies. You can see that big group of lawyers up there. There's a whole remedy section. We're excited to produce remedies and to share them with the court. The concern that we have is that there has been a little bit of a cat and mouse throughout this litigation where we say, you should do this, and then the other side says, oh, well, maybe we're already doing that. And so, for example, for those who were around when we filed our TRO around the purge, and we said, we think you're doing it wrong, and literally 2 hours before we showed up for the hearing, the state restored 22,000 voters. Right, so if we had put in a brief that morning, right, what the remedy was, we would have ended up in a different situation because the facts were changing. So the suggestion you're referencing is when I today said, Your Honor, we'd love to go ahead and get the whole case in so that we're not chasing after illusory representations, right, but that we know what the case is. But I certainly understood the court's ruling, and we're delighted to present our remedies when we finish our case. And we were really excited that the judge said, and then we can come back and rebuttal, right? So we were absolutely ready. We just didn't want to get in a situation where we're chasing after facts that we don't yet have because they're not in the record, though we have understanding of them from other places. So we are quite ready.
We are going to hear the stories from voters who are affected by these policies in Georgia, but we're also going to hear from the state who say it's not a major problem, that all voters have some problems, and that this is small scale and not anything that voters should be worried about. What do you say to that? How do you refer to those who say this is widespread, that this affects a handful of people?
It's just so contrary to our personal experience for those of us who have been working in the battlefield of this. We, of course, heard from tens of thousands of people back in 2018. And to me, what's really extraordinary is that 3 years later, people are still showing up to talk about it, right? That voters who have never been paid a dime, right, who have, as I said, had to go through COVID, gone through everything we've all gone through, are still taking time out of their busy schedule, right? That we have volunteers, right, people who are working, who are this committed, who are working for free, organizations whose resources are being completely diverted because this problem is so widespread. And what we know is that for every person who takes the time to do a declaration, excuse us, thank you. For every person who takes the time to do a declaration, we have lots and lots and lots of people for whom they'll never have a declaration done, right? That's too much trouble. They've got other things to do. They've got to move on. And we also know, particularly for low propensity voters, that going out one time if unsuccessful, they may never try again. The other thing I would just really encourage you to take a look at, and I know you have, is all the good data from the experts in our case. We have 14 experts in our case who really document the true issues. When you start looking, for example, at those 2018 felony numbers, when you start looking at the stats from our expert that shows that the way in which exact match applies a citizenship identity check results in a 43% error rate, right? You start to really see the gravity of the issue. So the declarations are but an example, and we believe every declaration stands in for hundreds, if not thousands of people. And I want to remind you that Verified Action has collected over 3,000 declarations. Yes?
A lot of people associate this case with Stacey Abrams and her 2018 run. Was it a deliberate choice not to mention her or that race in your opening statement today?
I appreciate the question. The parties in this case are Verified Action, Ebenezer, Baconton, Virginia Highlands, etc. And so this case is about all Georgians. It's about removing these insurmountable barriers to voting. And so we really don't see it as having any relevance to any particular party, race. One of the great privileges of a lawyer's life is to spend time defending the Constitution. I can't think of a better way for me to spend time, and there's just nothing partisan about democracy.
The defense team, though, in their opening statements, did kind of draw that comparison and did some comparison to the post-2020 litigation. Do you have any response to that?
I certainly heard that, and I understand why they might like to make it partisan, but we believe the Constitution protects everyone.